Hello everyone, Welsknight here again. I'm going to be bringing you a video about post-battle options. This was requested by Mr. Digitop on YouTube. So, I have beaten this settlement, this fortified city. I did this in my Ballista video, which you can watch. So now I'm given some options. I can occupy, I can sack, or I can raise the settlement. Occupy, I will go in, I will occupy the settlement, I won't destroy any buildings, any captives that I have taken. You can see I've captured 273 of the enemies, so I have 273 captives. If I occupy them, those captives will be released. There is a Conquest penalty of -25 that only lasts one turn. And provincial instability, that goes down by, that starts at 10, it decreases by 1 per turn, so it'll go, next turn instead of a -10, it'll be a -9, etc., etc. I can sack the city. In this case, I will take a whole bunch of money. I would gain 21,000 or 2,100 gold from them. However, I do not capture the settlement. I would then retreat to, say, over here. The settlement would remain in the hands of its current owners, which is a minor faction from somewhere or other. I can't even remember the name. Conquest, once again, there is a penalty to their public order. Provincial instability there starts at -15 instead of -10. One interesting thing with sack is I can sack the settlement, and then assuming my army has any move points left at all, I can then move in and capture the settlement. I can then choose to occupy it. I will show you that in a moment. The last one would be raise. I do capture the settlement. I own it. I destroy everything. So all buildings are destroyed with the exception of the settlement itself. I kill the captives, whereas in sack, the captives I kill as well, but occupy, I release them. And there's a much more substantial conquest penalty. It's -50 instead of -25. Provincial instability, however, is reduced to -5, so it's a smaller penalty per turn. I would raise the situations I can think of where I would raise the settlement. Normally, I would occupy a settlement, just because it's a smaller public order penalty. The buildings stay intact, and I can then convert them or make use of them. Generally, you will want to occupy in the campaign. However, with sack, the only time I can really think of myself doing that is if I really need the funds. And then I would usually go in and occupy it again afterwards. Last but not least, raise. The only time I can really think of in which I would raise the settlement would be if A, they have a whole bunch of buildings that I would need to convert, such as temples, various military buildings that I can't make use of and use to build any to actually create any units. Basically, if they were just a very large settlement with a lot of buildings and I needed to get rid of all those buildings, I might save some money by raising it. Or an alternative would be if I fully expect to lose the settlement on my next turn. Say there was a large enemy force over here somewhere that I was not going to be able to beat, I might raise it so that when the enemy, when the opposing faction takes it back, all of their buildings are gone, and they have to rebuild them all from scratch before the settlement becomes useful to them again. So, that's a brief overview of your post-battle options when you attack and capture a settlement or a city. And I will then, in a moment, I'm going to have to do it in a separate video once I beat an army on an open field. I'll bring in, I'll go over the other stuff as far as post-battle options when you beat an opposing army. So, there you go. Okay, I am back. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is that sometimes when you capture an opposing settlement, you will have a fourth or sometimes even fifth option as well. The fourth option would be Subjugate, which will turn that city, and actually that faction that owned the city previously, into a satrapy or client state. You can use that when it is the last available settlement held by a faction. The last remaining option you may have would be Liberate. And what that would do, you can use that option with certain factions when there is a city that falls under the control of someone else. Say Sparta conquers Macedon, just as an example, and you come in then and kick the Spartans out of Macedon. Sometimes you'll have that Liberate option, which would then return whatever city to the original owners, to Macedon. You do not take control of the province. You do not make them into a client state. You just return it to the original owners. The benefit there then is that you get a very substantial diplomatic bonus with whatever faction it is that you liberated and returned their city to them. So now, as far as post-battle options go, when you're engaging an army as opposed to attacking a settlement, you'll have release captives, enslave captives, or kill captives. Releasing the captives will give you a diplomatic bonus towards the faction that you just defeated in battle and any of their allies. So you'll get a small diplomatic bonus there. On the flip side, kill captives. Your enemy that you just beat will have a substantial diplomatic penalty. However, any enemies of your enemies, so any of your allies, anyone else that they're at war with, will get a diplomatic boost. So that would be release versus kill. Enslave is the final option. That will basically turn any captured soldiers into slaves. You will get a small income boost from having slaves. However, slaves do also affect your public order. So those are your three options. And that wraps it up for post-battle options. If you have any questions, leave a comment, let me know. If you like the video, you know what to do. Best of luck to you.